Hi everyone, good evening. My name is
Okay,
How.
Arewachik is not here. Let's go over to Gloria. Hi, Gloria.
Yeah,
No, we can hear
Yeah,
her,
she's
Wachi.
actually,
Okay,
yeah.
I can see her now. Arewachik, how you doing? My apologies.
doing very fine, Miss Pearls. Good evening, everyone. It's been a pleasure being amongst you all. My name is Hawa. I'm a formulator, an esthetician, and a farmer at the same time. I'm a serial entrepreneur. It's a great privilege to be here together with the People's President, and I'm looking forward to an interactive session with the People's President. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let me just introduce myself. Hello, everybody. I am Gloria Ayo with Parallel Facts. And if you're not familiar with this line,
Thank you very much, Arewachik. Now let's have Gloria. Hi, Gloria.
hi everyone. I'm Gloria Ayo with Parallel Facts. Like I was saying, if you're not familiar with this line, then you need to follow us on all Parallel Facts pages. But I digress. I am a broadcaster with a vast experience in radio and TV presenting. And I also am a content creator. I focus on digital content. And I'm currently the head of broadcast the head of broadcast at Parallel Facts. And I'm extremely excited to be here today. Thank you all for joining us. I think we're having some connectivity issues. Can you hear us, Miss Pearl?
Okay, thank you very much, Gloria. Right now, I'll pass the mic over to Parallel Facts to do us the honors of introducing His Excellency. Over to you.
All right, guys. Good evening. One more time. If you're just joining us, this is Peter Obi live on Parallel Facts, and we have His Excellency himself in the building with us. I don't think he needs more introduction. Everybody knows who he is, the People's President, former Governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. It is a pleasure having you one more time on the platform. Thank you for keeping to your words. I don't know, sir, if you would love to do us the honors by just briefly giving us a brief submission, probably reminding people we have people from all walks of life, people from across the world listening to us right now. That probably somebody don't know you. If you could just do us the honor of giving us a brief little submission of yourself, and if you can also test the mic, let us know that you can listen to us and you can hear us. Please unmute and speak, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Perfectly, sir. Good evening. How are you doing today, sir?
Okay, you're hearing me. Well, good evening, everybody. Let me very respectfully welcome the wonderful ladies that are co-hosting today, Claire Bolanle, Arewachik, and Gloria. Most sincerely, thank all of you for being part of this. And for all that are participating, I would say thank you and welcome. I can't wait to have this interactive section with everybody. Well, but thank you. First, I have to apologize that it's been a while that we haven't been able to talk because there were a number of issues here and there. But as we go along, you will get to understand why this delay and how we will get on doing it as we go on in the future. But thank you. Let me allow the program to go on.
Very much, Your Excellency. It's a great pleasure to have you here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, days ago we made a request for people to post their questions they would like to ask His Excellency here today. And from those questions, we're able to glean and curate some which we will be asking here today. I and my co-host will take turns asking some of those questions while also taking a few more live from the timeline, after which we'll open the floor for people to ask their questions live. So let's set the ball rolling. Your Excellency, my first question is, how will electoral and judicial reforms be pushed through in light of Labour Party's presence in the National Assembly? And what is Labour Party's legislative agenda, and what is your own role in monitoring this? Thank you.
Oh, this one is tough one. Well, let me thank you for your question. Today is not just Labour Party, but every Nigerian is talking about the issue of change with regard to the area where you mentioned. What is Labour Party agenda, legislative agenda? Quite frankly, all I can say is that I'm beginning to talk with the legislators who are from Labour Party to discuss and agree on areas, what we need to do to ensure that this our democracy is sustainable in terms of doing the right things, making sure that we always stand on the path of right things. But as you know, it is a bit difficult considering that Labour is just in the Senate, it's just about 7 of them. In the lower house, there's just about 30 something, considering the number of the ruling party and the main opposition party. However, I believe that now they're through with all their court cases and everything. We will be talking more to see how we can stand on what is most important and beneficial to Nigerians, to the people. And that has been my preaching to them. And in our last 2 meetings, I believe it went very well. Even when it is difficult, but it's going on, we're going in the right direction. And I believe it will continue to push. Labour will be able to have their own legislative agenda that will be for the benefit of people. On the electoral reforms, like I said, most Nigerians have been seeing that whatever we have been able to achieve with the last reforms did not in any way impact on the election, because it's as if all those achievements were thrown away with all that happened with the elections. I assure you, we're not just only us on that one. Most
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that very wonderful response. So
I think there's some connectivity issue. Can you hear us, Ms. Pearls? Okay. Maybe Mrs. Bolanle, can you go ahead with your question, please?
Yeah, sure. Your Excellency, I know as per your traditions during this time of the year, you're probably getting ready to spend time at one of the many IDP camps in our country. What should be done to resettle our fellow Nigerians who have been stuck in these camps with no government support and no plans to better their situation?
Well, quite frankly, it's a very regrettable position that Nigerians should live in a refugee camp in their own country when we're not at war. It is very, very regrettable. And I said it when we were campaigning. If we had opportunity, we would have aggressively tried to resettle them. We would have aggressively tried about them and everything. Because when I visited most of them last year, all they wanted to hear is that they will go back to their community. That is the most important thing to them. And I think this is where government should concentrate. And that is why I've been on the forefront of criticizing government priorities. Because our priority today should be how to care for those that are suffering. Those in IDP camp, the poor ones who don't know where the next meal will come from. That should be our concentration today. Not on trying to see that those who are already living well are even getting more. When millions of people don't know where the next meal will come from. So for me, it is to continue to push through the various agencies of government by advocacy that these people needs to go back. Luckily, someone like Ireti, who went with me to 2 camps last year, is an senator. So she will continue to push, she will discuss all this. This is time we have opportunity to talk about this. So that's what we should be doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your response. I'll pass the mic over now to Arewachik for her question.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Bells. And my question today is, the FCT minister said that contract for VP's house was awarded in 2010 by President Jonathan's government at the cost of 7 billion naira, and the project was abandoned. That the present government only want to continue to complete the project at revalued cost of 15 billion naira. What is your take on this, and reference to, let's make reference to especially the budget that was put out there for newspapers for different government parastatals. What's your take, sir? Thank you.
Well, that issue of the VPs has been one which have been called names by people, by the VP himself and by the minister, that I'm talking nonsense because I criticize it and I remain totally where on my stand that it is not a priority. It is totally not a priority. You see, I agree was awarded in 2009, 2010 by Jonathan's government. But what makes a responsible government is that at the time you assume office, you should be able to listen to the people. Governance should be demand-driven. Listen to the people, look at the needs of the people, prioritize the needs of the people. In this prioritization, you might have to abandon what has already been started. Looking at the priorities that you need to tackle as quickly as possible. In 2009 and 2010, when that project was started, things were not as bad as it is today. If you recall, I'll give you an example. In 2009, 2010, a bag of rice is 7,000, 7,005. Today is 60,000. So you have it 8 times worse. And remember, people's salary have not changed. It's a similar salary within this period. And then you have a situation where they have had 8 times increase just using bag of rice. A loaf of bread in 2009, 2010 is between 100 to 150 naira. Today, a loaf of bread for 400 is 1,000 naira. So you could see the change. Transport, if you're going from, say, Lagos to Abuja or Onitsha, where I live, to Abuja, in 2010, 2000 and 2010, you're going to be paying about 5,000-10,000. Today, you're talking about 20 something. So everything, if you're those who can afford to fly, it was 15,000 then. Now it's 100 and something thousand. So things have changed drastically. In 2009, I bought buses. Some buses that I gave, innocent buses that just in 2010, I bought them about 5 million naira. Today, those buses are selling for to something, 50 million naira. So this has changed drastically. We have less than 70 million Nigeria living in poverty in 2009, 2010. Today, Nigerians that live under poverty, World Bank I just reported a few days ago, is 104. Multidimensional poverty have increased about 140 something. I can go on and on. You can't compare that time and today. Things has gotten worse. There's critical areas. Our inflation have moved from a single digit to now we're almost hitting 30 something because prices of food have gone up drastically. Unemployment in 2009 was about between 10-12%. Today, you have unemployment hitting almost 40. If you see the situation you find yourself, our GDP per capita have collapsed. Comparably in 2009, 2010, we are at par with countries like Vietnam, even Indonesia, Bangladesh was below us, Philippines. But today they've also passed us. Things have gotten worse. So you have to look at your priority, reorganize your priority. You don't go and start doing things that you used to do when you had privilege of eating a buffet, when you have very tiny money to just buy yourself a very basic a la carte. So you go for it. We cannot be talking about building a new house now for somebody who owns a house or renovating a house, like it seems various budgets where we're renovating houses, not even in Abuja, in Lagos, in this and that and that. You don't need that. If a president or vice president of Nigeria visits Enugu, Lagos, anywhere, for God's sake, if there's no place for him, he will stay in a hotel. When President Obama travels President Biden travels from Washington to New York, he stays in a hotel. If he travels to Washington, to LA, Los Angeles, he stays in a hotel. If he goes to Atlanta, he stays in a hotel. We must not have building every. So if they go there, if they don't see any place to stay, they stay in a hotel for a few days. All these billions we have now should be invested in critical areas of development, which is number one, health, number two, education, number three, pulling people out of poverty. Imagine what 15 billion naira can do to improve our primary health care. Imagine what 15 billion naira can do if you give it to National Hospital to invest in their equipment. Imagine what you would do if you share it to major teaching hospitals of Zaria, Ibadan, Enugu, all. So there's so many things we can use it to do that is important now. Imagine what it can do in the area of education, basic education. Imagine what you can do if you decide to use it to pull people out of poverty by investing it in SMEs. There's so much you can achieve with that. And that is why I said, no, not now. We don't need it now. We can use this for something else that will go a long way in helping the nation. That is my understand by it. You should reprioritize it. I have been in that situation. When I became governor of Anambra State, go ask anybody. We have a big, I think Governor Soludo is trying to complete it now. We have a major project which is supposed to be governor's lodge, government office, everything. When they brought it to me, I said, listen, we can't embark on this one now. We have critical things to do. And I can't tell somebody, because within 1 month I became governor, Nigerian Legal Council shut down our faculty of law in our state university. And I can't tell somebody, look at it now, our faculty of law is, and you're talking about going to building that available. I'm going to renovate what is there presently, renovate the office that is there presently, and go ahead aggressively and see that all these facilities are there. I built that faculty of law, which again will require improvements as time goes on. I built it under 1 year, just to make sure that those students were not thrown out of school. And there's so many other things that was happening then that we needed to do. We needed to do some critical things, including opening up rural areas so farmers can sell their goods at a better price and everything, than going to talk about accommodation, renovation, and buying vehicles. So that's what my criticism. And there's so many other items like that in the budget, which, like I said, I'm taking the budget one after the other.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Before we proceed, I would like to appeal to everyone here. Please do well to share this space on your various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you belong. Do well to share this space. The more, the merrier. Let's get more people in here. So I'll pass the mic over now to Gloria to ask her question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pearls, and thank you, Your Excellency, for addressing the elephant in the room. We all know about the drastic changes in the economy. It's no secret that Nigeria is currently grappling with a series of unprecedented economic challenges. Now, some experts have even stated and claimed that Nigeria is on the brink of bankruptcy. If you were in the position of president, what strategies would you have implemented to navigate these difficulties, Your Excellency?
The present government said they inherited bankruptcy, so it's not just some experts. Everybody have agreed that we're bankrupt, and everybody knows we're bankrupt. If you're going to use almost 100% of your revenue to service debt, what else you need to know that you're bankrupt? First is that a bankrupt person has to behave like a bankrupt person. And the first thing you do is to cut your costs. You cut your cost. You do things that shows responsibility of going through difficulty. The way it is going today is not the way somebody who is bankrupt or near bankrupt should be going. I've said it repeatedly. The cost of governance in Nigeria is there's too much waste. Those wastes have to be cut off. And you've seen me complaining it, whether it's going to United Nations or going to COP in Dubai or doing this. All these things people think is this. I'm saying this because I practice it at a lower level, subnational level, where you have difficulties that you have to manage your resources more efficiently. And ensure that you invest more in productive area in order to be able to manage your situation. Today, we're borrowing money. A country in 2007, when President Obasanjo became president in 1999, Nigeria was owing about $29 billion. By the time he left, we were down to below $2 billion. Today, our dollar debt is about 47 billion. And then we have, by the time you add the local currency, we now have almost 100 billion debts in our hand. And we're borrowing more. And you're borrowing this money. The reason why all this borrowed money is not giving us problem is because we didn't invest it. We didn't put it into critical development areas. It was for consumption. So for me, the first thing to do is to apply the brakes on this consumption completely and focus on ensuring that all borrowed money are used in critical areas of development that is productive, that will impact on growth. Because that's the only way you can start turning things around in order to be able to generate more revenue, service these debts, reduce it, and everything. So for me, first is that we have to cut aggressively cost of governance.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Gloria, can we have one more question from the timeline?
Absolutely. Now, prior to the 2023 elections, we know there was an unprecedented surge of adrenaline among the youth in Nigeria and even throughout Africa. And this marked a significant impact on the political landscape. However, post-elections, there's been a noticeable shift towards voter apathy, despondency, and disillusionment. And this brings me to a question from somebody in the audience at Lord Tyrion 4. He's asking, Dear Peter Obi, how are you going to revive and sustain the interest of first-time young voters in the electoral process given the last elections? What do you expect obedience to do? Are you setting up a system to sustain and build momentum?
Thank you very much. What I'm doing, let me just say it. I wish this is something where and everybody, it's just to say to them, I'm kneeling down and begging you, don't get disillusioned. That's what they want to achieve. What they want to achieve is that we get disillusioned and walk away, and they'll be happy. If we continue with what we're able to achieve, in no time, we'll dismantle this criminality. We'll be worse off for it. The monies your country is borrowing today, you are the one going to pay it. Most of us who are borrowing it are in their 70s and 80s. If you get bonds Nigeria is issuing, there are bonds that will be payable 2046, 2048, 2050, 2060 something. None of us will be there. So this is a time from what you have achieved. This is time for us to stay together, sacrifice more. If I tell you personally what I go through, you will say to me, why do you want to continue this? Every single day, I'm going through one form of harassment, intimidation, everything. But I say to anybody who cares, no, there's no way we can abandon this. We must, for the sake of use the young ones for the sake of our children, for the sake of humanity. Please, I'm kneeling down and begging you, we will stay together until we dismantle this criminality. Nigeria can be one of the greatest countries on the surface of the earth, just like it's all over Africa. But it cannot continue with the leadership we found ourselves today, where people do not care. There's no other country where you have over 50% of its population living in poverty and its leaders are still behaving as if things are normal. We're in a crisis situation. So do not walk away. Let's stay together. Of course, for me, be rest assured, I'm committed to it, and they'll be moving around. We've started talking now. I said that beginning next year, we'll move around, say thank you to people, find people where they are, be able to say thank you, and be able to encourage them. I know the journey is difficult. I know that we are staffed. I know that we're everything, but please, let's continue.
Thank you very much, Your
Thank
Excellency.
you very much, Your Excellency. So, guys, before we proceed, I'd like to make an appeal again. Please and please and please, we have almost 7,000 people here, over 6,000 people actually. Please do well to retweet this space right now. Let's get more people in here. Retweet, and retweet the space and share the link to other social media platforms you belong. Thank you, guys. Please retweet the space. Your Excellency, thank you very much for all your wonderful response to the questions. My next question has to do with labor. So how do you intend to reform Labour Party? Because right now it just feels like Labour is like every other political party. So people feel like the old order needs to be dismantled and a reform needs to take place. So how do you intend to do this? Thank you.
Well, let me tell you an issue of labor. You know, Labour Party are not directly in control or running Labour Party. I'm just a member of Labour Party, like every other person is. Like every other person is. Like every other person is. I'm just a member of Labour Party. I'm not running Labour. I'm not the chairman. I'm not a member of a National Working Committee. So I don't even have a vote within Labour Party. I've seen people who said Labour Party that if P2P cannot manage Labour Party, how can he manage Nigeria? And I said to them, I'm not in charge of Labour Party. I'm not the chairman of Labour Party. I'm just a member. It has nothing to do with issue of my office. If I'm the president of Nigeria, governor, or like when I became governor, I was in charge. I was able to say, these are my commissioners, these are the things that I want to do. And I went on and did them. In Labour Party, I don't have that type of power. Everything that happens in Labour Party is done by the managers of Labour, which includes the chairman and his team. But let me tell you, and I'm appealing to people, Labour Party is not our problem. I've passed through party. When I joined ABGA, when I was governor, nobody knew anything about ABGA. It was just a small party. When we were in court, we had a problem. People were saying the same thing. If P2B cannot deal with Abga, how can he manage? If he cannot unite people in Abga who are quarreling, if he cannot solve it, how is he going to govern Anambra State? When I became governor, it was a totally different show. Abga was not the problem. It became Peter Obi. For example, if today I was in government, Labour will not tell me how to cut costs. They will not tell me, they will not say, oh, we're going to pursue this policy in education. They will say no. If I say we're going to do this to put people out, they're not going to say no. So these are the responsibility that would have been able to be achieved if I had succeeded. If Labour would not stop it, Africa did not stop me from investing, returning to the original owner. They didn't stop me from doing what I did, cutting costs of governance, saying that nobody should travel with me, nobody should do this, we're not going to buy a bulletproof, we're not going to. Africa was not involved. So it is same thing that would have been happening if I decide to travel to to go to, say, United Nations conference with 5 people. Labour is not going to say no. If I decide to go to COP in Dubai with 5 people, Labour is not going to say no. So when people mix up these two things, Labour was a vehicle we all belong. It is an ongoing thing. It is good to reform it, and that is being preached every day. To understand, that this is Labour is not a new party we formed. It is a party that has been there for years with its own distance, and you cannot remove it that it has some similarity with the existing ones. Yes, it is. But if you have succeeded, you have seen different things. Change comes from a little number of people. If you look at when we are campaigning, you could see faces that are not traditionally partisan, the likes of at the side, the likes of Pastor Tommy, Aisha Yusuf, all these people. So it was like bringing people who have like minds and saying, if we will succeed, who have been reforming the country, reforming labor, reforming everything, but like it is an ongoing process. But I don't want a situation where people think, oh, that we must fix labor now in order to get to where we're going. It is all the same ongoing process where it is people, a lot of people who supported us, who obedient, who believed in what we are doing. We're not members of labor. We're just trying to attract them to enter labor. And again, if all of us enter Labour Party and everything, we'll be able to again change that situation. I've seen people say, oh, Labour is not winning local elections, and because it's not winning elections, how is he going to win national one? How is he going to do this? Let me be honest with you. I want people to vote the best candidate in any party where they are, to best the best candidate. I've always said Labour management, NWC, you must try to have the best candidates in your primary. I, Peter, cannot control it. If we go to, say, Anambra State, where I am from, to choose who will be our gubernatorial candidate, I have only one vote. I cannot say it will be this person or this person. If we go to Nasarawa State, I don't even have a vote. So you can only talk to people, say, let's elect the best candidate. But that does not in any way say that because we don't have a good candidate, say, in Nasarawa or in Sokoto and everything, that people will not be able to do the right thing as president or people should not vote for him. The purpose of the idea of democracy, like it happens in every other country, that for every election, you look at who is the best candidate for the election, and you vote for the person. When I was governor of Anambra State, I governed with 30 members of House of Assembly that were not from my party. Local government people, when I started, were not from my party. Eventually, they became, because I now became, they became appointees. But when they were there, when I came, they were not from my party. But I worked with them. House of Assembly people, I worked with them. And I achieved the result we achieved. And the same thing, if I have 36 governors today who are not from Labour and the president, I can tell you, I won't even notice them. The programs we will unleash, they will be working hard to join. Because by the time they see, the people see what we're doing, which I continue to say, they will join. That's what happened in Anambra State. The House of Assembly people joined when they saw initially there was a few disagreements, which even led to my impeachment. But when they saw what I was doing, everybody, in fact, they became my apostles. If you ask them, I recall one of the prominent PDP governors asked the PDP speaker and everything. I said, how come 30 of you will always agree with Peter? He said, until you come near and see what this man is doing, you cannot but just agree with him. So it is the same thing that is happening here. I'm saying let us remain focused on our goal, which is to ensure that the right leadership and the right things are done in our country, Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. So, guys, before we proceed, I'm going to appeal again. Let's keep retweeting this space and sharing as much as possible to other social media platforms you belong. Also, remember to ask your questions using the hashtag Peter Obi on Parallel Facts. Only questions asked using this hashtag will be asked. Only questions posted using this hashtag will be asked here. Moving on, I'll pass the mic over to Ms. Bolanle for her question.
Your Excellency, thank you so much. I'm enjoying your answers. This question I'm going to ask is around the COP 2023 agenda. Right, so bearing in mind that Nigeria has not experienced the industrialization seen in the West, and knowing that our economy is driven by cottage industry and SMEs, is the push towards zero carbon future by the West to the detriment of economies like ours?
Well, this I've answered a lot when I was campaigning and said all this will be negotiated based on our need and our development. We can't just go along with the West that have had an development that we have not achieved, that have put their people out of poverty, that are below 5% unemployment, when we know that the resources or the avenues we need to do that still needs to be developed and will not be achieved if we go along with the agreements. But that needs to be something that we must bring to the table for people to see what we're doing. China and all this wasn't going along with them before. Today, they are doing very well and they're beginning to be part of it because they could see the impact it's having on their own environment. We haven't reached there. We need to do something more. So for me, I will not it will be something we need to be negotiating as we go along to be able to suit us, to be able to fight and improve our situation, which is now critical. We cannot talk about people are hungry, people need food, people need job, people need this. All this, as we do that, we'll be able to say, well, listen, we agree with what you're saying, but we need to do this in order to get this. We need to do this while managing what will see make our own environment and the global environment better. We have to also be able to do the things that will make us exist.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please, guys, again, I'm going to appeal. We have over 7,000 people here, which is great. The number here is very great, but unfortunately, we have less than 1,000 retweets. That's not fair. So please do well to retweet this space, retweet as much as possible. Thank you very much. So I'll pass the mic over now to Gloria for her question.
Thank you very, very much, Miss Pearls. And yes, please, guys, let's retweet this space. Let's not keep this space to ourselves. Come on now, let everybody know that Peter Obi is here with us. It's not every day we get this honor. Your Excellency, we know you're extremely popular. I'm talking global level popular. Yet there have been misconceptions about you and your political platform. For instance, considerable discussion regarding your financial dealings have come up, specifically allegations that you invested Anambra dollars in Fidelity Bank and even in your brewery. There have been allegations that you profited from these investments. Could you please clarify these claims and provide your perspective on this matter?
Okay, thank you very much. Two things. One is that first is that no Nigerian, today we're talking about debt in Nigeria. No Nigerian governor ever that I know, maybe there is, that have been able to save $1. $1. Nigeria itself, you heard what the international financial institutions have said about our reserve. That our reserve doesn't even exist. And we're owing $47 billion today. So I want us to start from that premises. And there was no law that compelled Peter Obi to save. No law. In fact, I read my 3 points why I was impeached within 6 months of being in government. It was about all the things I'm talking today. And it is important that I always repeat it for people to know. I was impeached for 3 items and thrown out of office. Item number 1 was my own office. There's an approved budget when I won the case in court against Dr. Chris Ngige to become governor. There was an approved budget to refurbish my office at a cost of 298 million. I did everything with 43,200,000. That was item number 1, why I was impeached. Item number 2 was, again, rebuilding, refurbishing of the governor's lodge. These 2 office and lodge were burnt because there was an issue, disagreement between Dr. Chris Ngige and some other groups. And they burnt these 2 office. There was no governor's lodge that became governor. So, but there was a budgetary approved budget to renovate, to renovate the office and the lodge. That of the lodge was 486 million. 486 million. I did everything with 81 million. That was number 2 item why I was impeached. Number 3 item was that because I was saving money. I had gone to the House of Assembly and said, there's no way we will consume whatever we get from statutory allocation. That this money being given to us comes from a diminishing asset called oil. And it's meant, this money is not meant for us, it's also meant for future generation. So we should save some. So it is imperative that we save 5 to 10% of everything we were able to receive. And I can say that the day I left office, all monies that I received, state, local government, and everything, was about 600, about 550, 600 billion naira. And then I was able to save between 10 to 15% of this the day I left office. And as at that day, I was not owing salary, pension, gratuity, any contracts that had been executed, any supply that had been delivered. I was not owing any. Nothing. In salary, I have 2 months' salary kept for the incoming governor. I decided to invest Anambra State money, this saving, in 3 areas: Naira, cash, dollar, and investment. So if you see where I said I left 75 billion naira, which was the equivalent of $500 million then, you see there's a 25 billion naira, there's $150 million because different assets. For the naira component, which was where your question is, for dollar component, which was where your question is, in the dollar component, we bought bonds. The bonds are specified with interest. For example, there wasn't, all of them was not invested in Fidelity Bank. And by the way, I do not own Fidelity Bank. Fidelity Bank is owned by, they have a total of 500 and something thousand shareholders. Because I passed through Fidelity Bank, on their shares, I was chairman, everybody said, it's your bank. No individual owns bank. So other people are involved. No bank in Nigeria that I know, maybe I'm wrong, that one single individual own more than 20%. Maybe there is. So I do not own Fidelity Bank. But that is by the way, that's a story for another day. I did not invest this money, $150 million in Fidelity Bank. Access Bank of Nigeria, I invested about $50 million. And they're all in bonds. Those bonds, their yield were clearly indicated. Nobody, not me, not anybody, can benefit from those bonds because their yield are clearly indicated. The next bank is Diamond Bank. Diamond Bank, again, the yield is indicated. It's about 7% or so. It's clear. It's documented. If you want, Give me your details. I'll fax you the documents. You will see the yield are there. So it's not something, it's an open thing. Number 3 is Fidelity Bank. Again, in each of these is $50 million. And we have a law backing it, calling it Future Generation Fund. If those monies were kept today untouched, without adding one couple, without adding $1 more, it would have been now about 270, probably between 270, 290, even up to $300,000. Imagine if Anambra State today had $300,000, $1 million. Imagine if they have today $280 to $300 million at almost 1,200 per dollar. They will be sitting on 360-something billion naira. No other state has such. The idea was that we were saving money. I recall listening and reading with joy that Soludo signed with Afrexim Bank for them to support Anambra State, which is going to be a loan with $200 million. I recorded it with joy. And I asked myself, imagine if they didn't touch the one I saved, and it's about $300 million now, and Anambra is able to get additional $200 million, combine it, it'll be $500 million, because our target is that if they continue to save at the rate we're saving, by year 2030, Anambra would have had about $1 billion. And I will use 50% of it to support SMEs and unleash SMEs drive for export. That's what happened, whether from China to Indonesia to Vietnam. It was a clear study when we started saving it. And we know where we're going. But that is the story for another day. So, my dear, I did not in any way benefit from it. I saved the money, and let me tell you what I usually tell people. When they were accusing me of that I saved the dollar and took the interest, I said to them, I wish every leader in Nigeria since 1960 actually saved the capital and took the interest. The amount of money we would have had today, we would know what to do with it. Nigeria would have been sitting on trillions of dollars. If people had actually taken the interest and saved it. But Nigeria is a place that, because it's a criminalized entity, when you do what other people are not doing, what they will be doing every day is to make sure that even that good you did is rubbish. Why would you do it? So instead of celebrating the fact that Peter Obi did not borrow money, Peter Obi did not do this, remember, they now say, oh, he didn't do anything. But I said, but I was number 1 in MDG. I was number 1 in education. I won Brigade Prize in health. I was number 1 in this. I was this and everything. So look at what we're doing. I won certificate for building the best rural roads, which improves people, farmers, in. And if you come to the same Anambra State, you will see it and ask the people, they will tell you. Which is why in an election like it was last time, I can get 96%. Go to every school now, they will tell you wherever I pass. I was in a school in Imo State just on Thursday morning. The principal of that school told me, he said, I was in Mexicans in Umuoji when he visited us and gave us bus. I told the people that I visited their school at least 3 times. Mercy Girls was not a public school. It was a school owned by the Reverend Sisters. Yes, he said I visited it 3 times and gave them bus and computer. That's what I was doing in every school. But they'll tell you, oh, P2B did this. Oh, P2B. But that money that I saved is there. Who else did so? Nobody. But they will gang up and tell you, oh, he profited in it, he invested it in brewery. In brewery, let me clarify it to you. The brewery today is owned by the biggest, the world biggest brewer. They own about 90-something% of the brewery. The entire entity put in Nigeria, which includes River State government, Anambra State government, I think Osun State, don't even own up to, put together, don't even own up to 6%. So how could he have been my brewery? So when people talk, because you're busy attracting this, we had as a policy when I was in government, anybody that wants to come to Anambra State, any foreign entity, we will take 10% of his company as investment to support them, we will help them to do road to their facility. Today, that facility, in terms of tax, is number one in Anambra State. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about those who are doing distribution, those who are making a living from it. It is to say, oh, it belongs to P2B. I can tell you, you can go and verify if in any way in the past, I left office 2014. Let me say, in the past 5 years, maybe when I was this, but for 2019, 18, 21, 22, 23, where there's any way that brewery will pay P2B 1 naira. 2019, 22, 2020, 20, so you can go on and see it. So the people will say, oh, P2B did this, P2B did that. Because they are is a gang up of criminals. How do we stop this one person who is trying to preach and do the right thing? And that's why I ask people to stay on. We can solve this problem. We can make these people place better. So I did not benefit from the dollar investment. I didn't take interest. I left it for future generation. That was why I needed to explain this to you. Because it would be as if everybody saved and my own was different. No, nobody saved $1. So it should be celebrated that how can this man save $150 million? And my state was not one of the big states that were receiving this. We were the least in terms of receipts. States that receive more. Imagine what it would have been if the assist states were able to keep the dollars that I kept. And today is 300 times 36. It would have been over $10 billion. And the states are not owing. Imagine what the country would have been today.
Okay.
You know? And like I keep saying, nobody, no human being, no thief sees what he can steal and leave it. No thief. Not even in church. That's why if you go to church, even in Nigeria, they say, mind your phone, mind your bag. Because they know that even if the thief is in church, he will steal it. This is the money I can take and go away. But I left it. I left billions of naira and dollars. That dollar would have collected it. Even if people start chasing me for it, if I spent 10% of it, I would have settled those people and kept 135. Even when I was going, they wanted to pass a law for me to take 10% of it. I told them it's public money. It should be left there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that response. I remember pre-elections, I had a Twitter space where I invited Commissioner of Finance who worked with you, is HAC, and he came and spoke extensively on this and also presented some documents to attest to most of these things you said here today. Thank you very much, sir. So real quick, I'll pass the mic over to Arewachik for her question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Prowse. All right. Right now in Nigeria, we tend to have something very worrisome happening, and we can't but be left. We are kind of worried knowing that we have major corporations like GSK, Procter and Gamble, and Unilever. They've existed in Nigeria. What are your thoughts on these developments, sir? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I've said it before that we must move from consumption to production. And that means you have to support businesses. Businesses thrive in a conducive, business-friendly environment. Businesses thrive in a conducive environment. Businesses thrive where there is disposable income, so people can buy their goods. My sister, 15 years ago, P&G, India global body, took Nigeria as a country of strategic importance and built a world-class distribution facility in Abara. And for them to abandon it today takes a lot, because things have collapsed. When I answered about who was the person I was comparing 2009 to date, it was very simple. In 2009, 2008, when they took this, they saw a country that was growing at 6-7%. They saw a country where things were getting stronger and better. Our debts were low. There were disposable income. The people who were able to buy items today from studies. I've read one for less than 2 million Nigerians can afford to purchase items of $10 every day. A country of 200 million people, only 1% can spend that amount. You saw, it's not only them, you saw a lot of companies, leaving. ShopRite left Nigeria, and their profit increased. And they will tell you they're very happy that they left, because they saw demand going down. Only few Nigerians now have disposable income to be able to buy anything, because there's no living wage, there's no productivity that is creating more labor. So all this is what we need. How do we start turning around the economy by making it more productive? You have to invest in security aggressively to be able to drive away hoodlums and bring back your farmers who will help to tackle food inflation, create more jobs. You need to support manufacturing activities by having policies that favor them and everything. You need to support export aggressively to be able to get more foreign exchange, stabilize your currency, have enough currency to be able to get manufacturers get inputs, support the local manufacturers of inputs. So there's a lot that needs to, when I said you prioritize what you're going to do, we did that side, the companies, it is not going around trying to attract foreign investor. Nobody goes around to attract foreign investor. Foreign investor is like honey and bee. If you put honey, the bee will come. You don't need to look for the bee. The bee is looking for where there's honey. That's how foreign investor work. If you start doing the right things, in those days they were coming, nobody was looking for them. They were coming. And they did not get them from where? For seminars. Seminars is good. But most importantly, is to be able to show foreign investors stay where there's rule of law. Is your biggest intangible asset. They don't stay where there's no rule of law. They don't stay where things are not rascally. They follow rule of law. It's an intangible asset that is driving those Western world you think people are going to. Those people are going to. Where there's respect, where there's law and order, where there's security. If you look at what our country today, from elections to everything, it is rascally. In such circumstances or environment, it's going to affect you. The scene, and it will continue. Even local companies are collapsing.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. So on to the next question now. But before I go ahead, I'd like to appeal again. Let's do well to keep retweeting this space. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, you said we are now the opposition. That's very interesting. But how does this really feel? And how can people from different areas like the villages, rural areas, and people from the cities, how can effectively play this part of being an opposition? Thank you.
Well, I think that's what we're doing now by interacting, by trying to bring on and taking notes of things you're complaining. When it comes to when you say in terms of being an opposition, those who supported us, those who are from the village, we're like their representative. We are like their representative, which is meant for us to be able to say, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. Before now, nobody, not that people don't talk, but there's nobody who, after election, that is consistent saying things are wrong. We should do this right. And that is why it is difficult. You will see that more and more people will probably say, oh, well, we can't continue with this struggle because for them, it does not get them to anywhere where they have to do this. Our politics have been transnational. So by now, Peter Obi would have been settled and he would start saying, well, let's wait till next 4 years and then start singing, even join them in going to COP in Dubai and saying everything is going well, they're doing the right things, the VP needs a house in Abuja. That's how it happens. There's never been a situation where people say, well, listen, we are going to stay in opposition. We are going to do the right things. We're going to ask the right questions. And again, for government, that is why everybody's saying, this man, we must shut him down. We must find out what he's doing. So every day is one harassment or the other. Like I told somebody yesterday, I said, listen, I was talking to somebody yesterday, I said, listen, do not be surprised that in the next coming weeks or months or anything, they will do anything rascally. They can even kill somebody or they can even put you in a way where nobody will know where you are. But whatever happens, I'm in it. And I'll remain in it. And I'm sure that if anything happens to me, there will be so many other people who will take on and know that we must dismantle